This is the Janine Driver celebrity speaker, TED Talk, book publisher, podcast guest, Fox News, Kelly Ripa, big keynote speaker, origin story. And the reason that we're having this conversation is, we don't stand on ceremony. Don't worry about, eating while we're doing it. No big deal. It's only audio. The reason that we're doing it is because we want to distill down the lessons learned, at least version 1 of the lessons learned, because you have 100 either high-performing, influential women or wannabe high-performing, influential women who are going to be part of your little coven, right? This is your mastermind. This is your cult of personality. This is my little chickies. But they can be like, they can be bigger, but they're your little chickies who are like, I want what you have. I want to be able to go and speak. I want to be invited onto Court TV. I want to be able to have a best-selling book. I want to have a TED Talk. And maybe even I want to have a little community like you have with FAF or whatever. They want that, and they think that's good. Now, they have no idea the chaos that lies beneath that stuff. But generally, that is success for somebody, right? Like, if you have let me ask you this, Janine. Have you ever published a best-selling book?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been on national television?
Yes.
Have you ever done a TED Talk?
4.
Have you? Don't try to elaborate. Okay, just stay focused. Have you ever been?
Wait, 2 were a bust, by the way, and the last 2 went viral, 13 million combined, but the first 2 failed.
Okay.
So there's something we can talk about.
Yeah.
there.
100%. And this is not boiling the ocean today, right? This is just getting us to where we're going to create content on 2 sides, and I'm going to tell you what those 2 sides are. But last question: have you ever been on a podcast with somebody that somebody would have heard of?
Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
Dr. Oz. Mike Schmarkonish. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, sure, I know.
From the Schmarkonish show,
Yeah.
which I love him. I want to be his friend.
It's funny. All of those are the things that people, and you have a podcast, and your podcast has blank number of views, which frankly is probably more than a lot of people, right?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And you barely do anything with it on some level.
Yeah, I don't market it or advertise it.
You have not leveraged it the way you're going to be able to coach and guide your coven, whether these people are coaches already, publishers or authors, whether they're consultants, whether they're, influencers, whether they're video...
Or they're just in sales.
Or they're
in
sales or whatever, they're CEOs or C-level, whatever it is. If they're seeking to figure out how to unlock, think about you with the keynotes. You could be a body language expert or a organizational psychology person or a how to ask for what you want person without even having any of that stuff and still make $35,000 for coming and speaking at the Association of Administrative Assistants or whatever it was, and get a nice hotel in downtown Nashville, steps away from the honky-tonk highway, if you will. So the origin story of Janine Driver is interesting with regards to how you got onto TV, radio. I've heard it before, but it's an interesting story. The origin story of your book, I'm sure, is fascinating. The origin story of how you parlayed this into keynote speaking and blah, blah, blah is all interesting. And we're going to touch on some of that today. But I want to lay the groundwork because I want to tell you what we're building. Because this is what you and my daughter were supposed to be building a year and a half ago. All right? We said, we're going to show you how to get booked. I, Janine Driver, know how to get booked, right? I could go out and get booked. Substitute whatever verb you want for this. I could go get booked tonight. I could go get booked tomorrow. I could go to a bar and get booked there. Book. I don't know, whatever. All right. You look scared.
You're punchy. You can tell you were up early doing a long walk.
All right.
A lot of energy.
A lot of energy. All right, so what I'm saying is that concept was we're going to help people do that. We want to teach this darling young Savannah O'Leary how to do it. She's going to practice her skills, and that's going to turn her into a force to be reckoned with. And she can go work with anybody, right? If she knows how to get you booked on podcasts or get you booked on TV shows or get you speaking gigs or create books for you or help publish or promote your books, then you're a valuable person, right? Because presumably, I don't think this has been replaced by AI yet, but presumably somebody who can actually deliver results for you is valuable, right?
Yes.
Especially if you are a young male or female person interested in that world, and you're coming in at 22, and that's like kind of a like high-level executive assistant or a high-level PR person or a high-level whatever for the influencer who wants to be on podcast, blah, 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 right?
Right.
All right. You know that world. True or false?
I don't know the world of like mastering social media, but definitely my lane of public speaking, how to meet people, how to be relentless in a loving way. And by the way, that doesn't mean I get everything I go after, because some people, I was on Wendy Williams once, and at the end of the show, the producer came up to me and said, "You were funnier than Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said something funny. You said something funnier. You had a bigger laugh from the audience, and you'll never be invited back because of that." And I said, "Well, bro, why didn't you tell me that in advance? I'm a funny person. So give the guest, hey, just going to let you know, don't be funnier than Wendy Williams." So I was never invited back.
Yeah.
They were right.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't hit them all out of the park.
Well, and I'm not saying, like, you don't need to know, your learned experience, your lived experience is having had exposure successes that most people want to have. So what does that mean? You know that it's possible. So you're not scared of a best-selling book. You're not scared of being on TV. You're not scared of asking for $50,000 or saying no to Tony Robbins, right? Mm-hmm. You're not scared of those types of things, which is itself valuable. And if you broke it down and we said, okay, let's create a blueprint for getting this gig, or a blueprint for creating a book title that will sell, or a keynote that would be interesting.
Yes.
You have that shit, I'm holding up Janine's mind map. You have that shit wrapped up in your head somewhere. Okay. That is going to be valuable for your coven.
Yeah.
Periodically, you'll have some 10 or 12 women here for the retreat, for how to blow up your business. Most of it will be done remotely. It will be a community of women who want to take things to the next level. And you're helping them because it's better to be at the next level than it is to not. It's better to break through that limiting belief that says I can't blank and blank.
I was just going to say, it's all about limiting beliefs. Yeah.
Well, and it's marrying the limiting beliefs with then accessing the actual methodologies and how to do it. But you're never going to do that if you have the limiting beliefs. You're never going to ask the questions. But then the third thing is, this is where the magic happens. And this is where it all plugs in. Because you can have these people coming in and saying, okay, yes, help you write your book, get your podcast guesting, get your keynote, get your whatever. But if you don't have somebody who's going to help you do it,
I have to flip these sausages.
Yeah, and that's not a metaphor, guys. She means literally. She has to flip.
Alarm's going off. Yeah, keep talking.
So the next step is, and this is where the magic happens, as I say, is we're going to have our training program for the young people who are going to be the implementers. These are the project managers. These are the booking agents. These are your body men and women that that accompany you to the event or help you get the booking, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter if you get rid of your limiting beliefs and you figure out what it takes to make a good hook in a book or a podcast or a TED Talk or whatever if you don't have an implementer.
That's right.
And the good news is that we have a group of people that are happy to implement for you, right?
Yes.
Savannah was happy to implement. Claire, at first year out, is happy to implement.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they don't know how. They don't know how or what to implement. They don't understand the world.
Right.
So what we're going to do is take the font of knowledge that is Janine, pour it into the women to help them break through their limiting beliefs so that they say, I see how this can be done. These guys don't have true limiting beliefs. Our team of project managers, they don't have those limiting beliefs.
No, they're fearless, many of them.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know that they're fearless, they're dumb. Right? So they don't know anything. Now,
that should inspire people to want to work with
yes,
us.
their only limiting belief is like, I don't know how to do this, ergo I don't know how to do it. So they have a 20-year-old limiting belief.
Mm.
These guys have a 40, 50-year-old limiting belief. Their 20-year-old limiting belief is turned around by, I'm going to show you how to do it. Savannah didn't know how to fill in the blank, but you teach her, you say, do this, do this, do this, and when this happens, do this. That's a training program to help them go. But it's what I call sale. We're going to help them with the sale.
Okay.
They're going to study. They're going to assist. They're going to learn. No. They're going to study. They're going to assist. They're going to lead. And then they're going to earn. Right? So first off, we're going to teach you how to do these things.
Sorry, that's the rice.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to teach you how to do those things, and some of that is just going to be studying Janine's story. Some of that is going to be looking at case studies and deciding what you're going to do. Some of that is going to be like a simulation, right? You're going to say, like, this person wants to be on TV. Order these 25 steps in the right order, and if you do that, you unlock your key to the next step, right?
Yeah.
That's a simulation. When you graduate from the studying, you go into assisting. You're going to assist a lead project manager on booking. That person has already gone through the assisting, and they're now a lead, right? You're going to be assisting them. The lead then successfully books a podcast or successfully books a keynote or whatever, and they graduate, and now they are an independent consultant who can charge for their services, right?
Yeah.
So the project pilot...
And they can say they got me on different TV shows.
Well, they have a whole portfolio of they studied under Janine Driver. They assisted with these 4 or 5 different women, getting them on their project. They were not the lead. They were the assistant, but then they were the lead on these 3 projects, and they have their portfolio. It's very methodical. It's very linear. It's very happy.
That's right. I put a little bit of it. Yeah.
All right. So basically what we're saying is you're bringing the inspiration, you're bringing the implementation, you're bringing the community and the mastermind and the support and the that kind of thing. You're not really doing anything other than sharing. You don't have to do anything. All of the doing is going to be handled by the project management team, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the Fraser portion, right? I don't give 2 shits about the content is all coming out of your brain. Mm-hmm. There may be other people that we want to enroll, but at its root...
Some of my CEO friends can give really good tips.
Yeah. And here's the thing. They are everybody and his brother wants to charge people for this stuff. We don't. This is you want to help people expand their influence. They apply to be a part of it. They don't have to pay to be a part of it. What they do get to do is they get to endow a scholarship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what we want to do is we want for these, and for whatever reason I was thinking of girls, we want these girls to...
Young women, yeah.
Right. These, and in some cases actual girls, they could be high school, but like these girls to young women to be able to be the implementers for these older women, more seasoned women. I meant there's a reason that I do what I do, right? For the 22-year-olds, I'm doing it so that my daughter can be involved with projects that are interesting. I
love your daughter. She's amazing.
For the
smart, funny. The funniest one in the O'Leary family, for sure.
She's easily the most charismatic.
Definitely charismatic.
All right. So does the In the Driver's Seat, Janine Driver, Awesome Speakers Academy, Ladies Who Lead Academy,
I like that Awesome Speakers Academy. It's good. It's simple. I think simple sells. That's what happened at my TED Talk. One of them, the first one, I think is called Cooperation Paradigm. No one knows what that means. Well, and by the way, that's probably one of my favorite TED Talks. But it's like been watched by like 5,000 people. It's because of the name. Do you wake up saying, I really want to find something today about the cooperation paradigm? No one says that. Like the simpler, like the Awesome Academy, the Awesome Speaking Academy, that's simple.
Well, we're saying, think about the cell. And this is, I think, very powerful. There is a huge difference between you saying that this should be, we were talking about this as like a $9,000 program, right?
Mm-hmm.
The truth of it is, there's a lot of credibility and power in saying, do you know the art of Idamsu? You ever heard of Idamsu?
No.
So Idamsu is a methodology, a philosophy that I think has a lot of power in the marketplace. And it stands for, you don't owe me shit until. That's my little joke. Idamsu. It's very it's very Eastern.
Got it.
You don't owe me shit until. And because the thing is that people are constantly being barraged with this message of like, well, bet on yourself. You can't, you're not going to get anything unless you invest in it. Blah, blah, blah. All these things. I'm like, dude, you're right. I don't trust myself. I don't trust you. I don't trust myself. I don't trust the world. I don't trust anything. But you being able to have a message that says, listen, I want to help you. I want to help you unlock and share your genius.
One of my mentors, not Jim Kavanaugh, J.J. Newberry. Excuse me. When I reached out to him, I heard him on a radio show. When I was at ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, they would always be in our manuals, J.J. Newberry moments. And they were always awesome. Like rapport is people like themselves, right? He would never use an interrogation. He would say interview. He just was awesome. So I reached out. I heard him on a radio show, and I found him, called him. He didn't call me back for like 2 weeks. And what I said is, I want to be the next J.J. Newberry. I'm wondering if you'll be my mentor. When he eventually called me, to make a long story short, we can go into details at another time. But he said, I'll mentor you on a couple conditions. And one was, you pay it forward and mentor other people, and you have them make it their own. So I'm going to give you what I know, Janine. You add the Janine Driver flair. I'm funny. JJ's not really fun. He's more like quirky. But I add my little cheeky expressions. I like rhyming things because it sticks in the brain, right? And he said, as long as you pay it forward to other people, that's number one. And number two, my mother always said, she passed away 12 years ago. My mother always said, your power is what you give to others. So when you learn and you begin to master something, start to share it with younger people, with other people, with people who want this information. Your power is what you give to others. And the last thing she said is, one time a doctor came in and said, Lorraine, my mom was Lorraine, the head of cardiology is coming in today. My mother goes, why are you whispering their title to me? Well, I just want you to know it's the head of cardiology. And my mother said, I treat everyone like the head of cardiology. You never have to whisper someone's title to me. So I think those three combinations are what are leading me to want to be a part of this program to help young people and to have young people then help other people grow their businesses and launch a platform that works for them, is it connects to all of that. Number one, I was raised by a mother who said your power is what you give to others, and that she taught myself and my two younger sisters, treat everybody like they're the head of cardiology. I think that's my... And by the way, I don't mean this in regard to treat everybody just important and respectfully. Yes, that's true. And I remember if you ever been in D.C., you see half the buildings in D.C. say car. Yeah. Car workplaces owned by car. Well, my last name's Driver. I rented an office years ago, 15, 20 years ago, at car workplaces. And I came in, and it's one of those things like a WeWork where they have like a main desk and everyone has different offices, but it makes you look bigger than you are. Yeah. And I came in, and the main boardroom was full. And I go, what's going on in there? And they go, oh, Mr. Carr is here. Mr. Carr is like 90. Right. And Mr. Carr's here. I go, like the head honcho? Yeah, the father that started it all. And I go, really? He's like 90 years old. And I said, did the meeting start yet? They said, no. There are about 6 people out of 12 in there. And I came in, and I knocked on the door. I said, Mr. Carr, do you have a moment where I could introduce myself? I rent one of your office spaces here. Could I say hello? And he said, come on in. I go, hi, I'm Janine Driver. I figured the driver should meet the Carr family since we're indirectly related. And I shook his hand, and you know what I said to him? This is something you would say, Fraser. So when my mother says, treat everyone like the head of cardiology, so I said to him, your family must be so proud of you. Mm-hmm. And he goes, excuse me? I go, your family must be so proud of you. I can't drive through D.C. without stopping at a block where the name Carr, C-A-R-R, is on a building somewhere. Your family must be so... So when do you think the last time someone said to a 90-year-old billionaire, your family must be proud of you? He may have never heard that his whole entire life. So, yes, it's treating people with respect, and no one person is better than any other person. Right. So I think that, if I summarized all of my success, goes back to having a great mother and father who taught me awesome lessons, which we'll talk about in another time. Having awesome mentors, J.J. Newberry, another guy, Jim Kavanaugh, saved women and children for Waco, Texas before it blew up and solved the D.C. sniper case. And just having all that lessons inside of me, creating a belief system that if someone else can do it, you can do it.
Well, and I really like that. It's funny because we were talking about limiting beliefs and the notion, there's so much cool to unpack about that Carr story. But if you think about the concept of like, you're no better than anybody else, and you're not worse than anybody else. You're not less talented than anybody else. And when you meet people, we always put people on a pedestal, right? Somebody who's successful, you put them on a pedestal. One of the cool things that you have is that you've met people who are famous, right? You met people who are billionaires. You've worked with people who are billionaires. You work with people who are celebrities. You work with people who are TV.
I work for an NBA team.
You work, I mean, and just anybody. You're like, it's kind of like, what is it that everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time concept. So like everybody is the same. Yes. There's a great quote that said from Catullus that says, "Nothing human is alien to me." Like anything that somebody experiences, I know about because I too am human. Right. And like people are prickly. People like to be told that they're pretty. People like to be told that what they did is good. People differ a little bit, but not as much as we think. And so for the women, like when the women who are in this program meet you, there's going to be a certain amount of awe. And you have a lot of energy, so it's not like, holy shit,
my sister calls me neurospicy.
There's nothing special about her. There's not that. But there's a situation where you're like, but you also share you have your own craziness about life and stuff, and so you don't have it all put together. Let's just say that. And I think that's also good for the young women who are working in the program to look at the, different stages and say, you can pick up the phone and call anybody. You can knock on the door of the meeting and say to
the billionaire,
say, hey, can I introduce myself? And he was happy because he's not an archetype. He's not a caricature. He's a human being who has gone through crazy stuff, right?
I saw him months later. He was in the building, and I want you to think about this. I saw him in the building, and what did he say? Hello, Miss Driver. Hello, Miss Driver.
Right.
Like very Tim Ferriss. But I think you're right. I think everyone wants to feel pretty. Oprah once did a show, and she said every guest she had on the show at the end of the segment asked the same question.
How'd I do?
How'd I do?
Yeah.
Including Beyonce.
Yeah.
How'd I do?
Right.
Did I do okay?
Right.
How was it? Every guest. And I think that's, when my mother said.
It would never occur to me to ask that.
She'd be like, I was the best guest.
I was the best. I mean, just where do I go? Where do I go for my trophy?
Listen, I get it wrong probably twice as much as I get it right. And because I teach this stuff, I live it. And my kids will call me out. Like if I say something like, oh, that was a hard day yesterday, my kids will go, Mom, no one wants to do hard things. You mean it wasn't easy? Mm-hmm. It wasn't an easy day. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Jack. Thanks, Angus. So my boys, because I've trained them in what I learn, we hold each other accountable, and we don't, with grace. But I think I get it wrong because we're human beings, and we are trained sometimes, I think, to think negatively. I'll tell you this one last piece, this little story I think is important as we talk about the origin story. Is I'm a Christian girl, a Jesus girl, and there's a story in the Bible where Jesus is coming to town. They carry this crippled guy. 4 of his friends carry this crippled dude across town because Jesus is having dinner at some guy's house, right? One of the apostles, Paul or somebody. And they carry him to the roof. They dig a hole in the roof. So imagine being inside that house. You got like dirt coming down over your table, over your lamb or whatever you're eating. And Jesus looks up and sees the eyes of the 4 friends. And based on the eyes of the 4 friends, this crippled guy is like a crook. He's a criminal. But Jesus says, lower him down, stand up, walk, carry your rug with you everywhere you go. I tell you that story because I started thinking, I'm the crazy friend that when you say, Janine, Jesus is across town, will you carry me 2 miles on this rug, figure out how to carry me on this rug up the roof to dig a hole so I could see Jesus because I think he could make me walk. I'm the lunatic that says, count me in, let me get 3 friends. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, I would do it for anyone who's my friend. I would do it for you. I would even do it for people I don't like much because if I think a miracle could happen to them, I would do it. And when I heard this at church, like 12 years ago, it hit me because the pastor said, can you name 4 friends that wouldn't talk you out of it, that would say, count me in? And at that time, I thought, no. My friends would say, that's stupid. Jesus isn't going to do that. We're not going to care. You know how many other people are around that house? You're going to get arrested. If you go to the top, I'm going to see Jesse Itzler, his one-man play, right? His one-man show on Broadway. Jesse Itzler, if you don't know who he is, Google him. Married to Sarah Blakely, invented Spanx. But Jesse imported Zico water. It's a coconut water, sold it to Coca-Cola. Both billionaires, right? I'm going to see Jesse Itzler. He sent out a text message this morning. Hey, even though it's Broadway, don't come dressed fancy. Come dressed as a banana. Come dressed as someone spicy. He said anyone who comes dressed as Zico water, which he did years ago with his business partner, and he ran a marathon dressed as Zico water, I'll give you $100. Mm-hmm. So today I have a fancy outfit up there that I bought online, this velvet pirate coat. My son made fun of me, and he goes, what are you going to be in Hamilton while you're in New York City? Right. And I have like tight leggings. I've lost 75 pounds recently. And now I'm like, oh, looks like that outfit's not coming with me because now I'm dressing up as Zico. I will spend $250 to get the $100 from Jesse Itzler. Right. But Jesse's my people. He's fearless, right? So I say this story about Jesus because I want to surround myself with the Janine Drivers and the Jesse Itzlers of the world that say, go for it. How can I help? You're fearless. I mean, you're fearless, Fraser. I love that. I don't know if you would carry me across town to a roof. I doubt it because you're a little on the lazy side.
Lazy.
But you're very creative. You would give me ideas of who could help me.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking earlier this morning about who you have to protect your dreams from. So many people that you have to protect them from. And they're not enemies, usually. because we're okay with our enemies. We know to protect ourselves from our enemies. But I have to protect my dreams from my kids. Yeah. I have to protect my dreams from my ex. I have to protect my dreams from my friends. I even have to protect my dreams from somebody like you who's crazy supportive and crazy whatever. But you can say things that might, affect. Yeah. And so, you can either, I'm a Steeler fan, and I used to, early on in our Ben Roethlisberger era, Ben, I don't know if he really did, but it seemed like he would throw a pick six in the red zone, and we would go from about to get 7 points on one end to giving up 7 points on the other, which is a 14-point swing. And I was always thinking, it's like the difference between being really good at protecting your dreams from toxic people, which is important and necessary, I think. Yeah. The difference between living in that world and being surrounded by people who are encouraging and supportive and whatever, that's a 14-point swing. One is you just protecting it. Yeah. The other one is somebody pushing you up and cheerleading you. So going back to the Awesome Speakers Academy.
Wait, before you go back in there, pause 1 second. I just want to say, Jesus himself had his own VIPs. So he had the people he would speak to. Then he had his apostles. But then he had his top 3 apostles that when he goes and he has this special moment, he's like, hey, you 3 bros, come with me. And then I believe Jesus' favorite was John, or at least John thinks he was Jesus' favorite. And John, by the way, was like 16 to 19 years old. I think we think of the apostles as these like 40, 50-year-old men. These are kids, man. They're in their 20s. Yeah. 2 of the people believe they're in their 20s. 2 of them are like Matthew, because he was a tax collector, in their 30s. But if you think about it, Jesus had his VIPs, right? So little John is like 16 to 19. He's about 20, 21 when Jesus gets crucified. He's the only apostle that shows up. And he's standing there. Everyone else went and hid because they were afraid. Right, but there's John standing with the 2 Marys and all that. I say this because this was given to me by a pastor about 7 months ago. A pastor rented my Airbnb downstairs, a woman pastor, and her husband and her opened a church. And they live in Maryland, like 45 minutes away. They rented my house because I have a pool and a trampoline in the ground. She brought the husband over the next night. We sat out till 3 a.m. sitting around a fire pit. And he told me, because I said, sometimes I'm so open, I give people ammunition to use against me. Sure. And he said to me, Jesus had his levels. You still, even in the Bible it says that we need to confess to others. Because I was saying I was raised a Catholic and Catholicism doesn't work personally for me. And I said, I feel like I have a direct relationship with God to apologize for my sins and ask for his grace and mercy. And he pointed out, he opened up the Bible and he goes, look, you still have to confess to man. Mm-hmm. It's not just about God. I didn't even know that was in the Bible. Right. I'm just reading it. So I share that right now before you go back into the Awesome Academy with, it's okay to have your apostles, your friends, who's at your Last Supper. But even the people at your Last Supper, there's going to be maybe 3 and ultimately 1 that you share everything with because they're the person that's going to carry you 2 miles across town saying that's a great idea. We have nothing to lose. Yeah. Let's go give it a shot, right? So I think for me, it helped me with the gift of discernment on my friends. You know me. You've coached me that you said, Janine, I have to teach the same lesson I'm teaching my 21-year-old daughter about, not tact. What was the word you said? Discretion. But I think because one of my I ams of who I am as a person is I am open, I am truthful, I am generosity, and I am power. I think saying that I'm open and I'm not a secret keeper, there are levels of where I should be less open and trust my intimate details and dreams with my select few. Yeah.
And it's completely okay to not have that all figured out. And it's also completely okay to make sure that you are trying to get it figured out, right? It's like it's okay to not have it all figured out, and it's not okay to not be growing in that area, right? And we, the one thing I wanted to say about the Awesome Academy is that, we're saying like we want people who are cheerleading you, and you want people you can trust. And there's multiple ways to trust somebody, right? You can trust somebody's knowledge, somebody's wisdom, and you can trust that somebody wants what's best for you. those two things don't always have to be the same. You could have somebody who's really, really smart who doesn't want what's best for you.
Yeah.
And you can have somebody who wants what's best for you who's not really, really smart, right? So there's lots of ways. And you know, again, somebody could be, you're talking about billionaires, somebody could be a billionaire. Doesn't mean they're right about their advice about your life.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't even mean they're right about what they are an expert about. There's a lot of reasons or ways to be wrong. It's kind of like, this is a little bit broad, but it's kind of like when God said, or when Jesus says, you know, how are you going to know if people who are preaching in my name are right? Mm-hmm. Or are they come from me? And I don't remember what he says.
Yeah.
But it's some version of, you got to figure out whether the people who are telling you things are right or wise. Is that coming from God? Is it coming from man? If it's coming from God, you can pretty much trust it.
Yeah.
If it's coming from man, you got to apply some rules. Yeah. But here's the big thing, I would say. It starts with, do you want what's best for the other person? And I think that the reason that I'm pitching this idea is I think that all other things being equal, if you, Janine Driver, could snap her fingers and help 1,000 women amplify their visions, eliminate their fears, overcome their limiting beliefs, experience abundance, have an impact in their communities, and then pay it forward to their... I can tell by your watering eyes and crying that this doesn't resonate for you at all. So I'm glad
you can see that my eyes are watering.
I'm
making me emotional.
I'm glad I'm off track. I'm glad I'm off track. Well, that
see that my eyes are watering.
And that's the
I'm
thing.
like, don't drip, don't drip, don't drip.
So the concept of that is like what you would do if you had discretionary money. So one of the limiting beliefs that people have is, I don't know how I'm going to make money from it, right? I don't know if this is the right thing. I deal with that all the time. I'm like, if I could just get this thing figured out, then I could do it. Now, I'm doing what I want to be doing, and I don't have any money. So I'm just like, I know it's a problem, but I deal with it. But I look at this and say, okay.
We need to change you from stop saying that. Because you are sending bad energy out.
I know, it's true. It's all, listen.
Money is filling your pockets today.
Guys, by the time y'all are listening to this,
you're going to be rolling in the
dough. You're going to be doing other things.
We're going to cancel negativity.
But
money's coming right now, today.
This is a Oprah and the car moment, right? Like, all right, guys, and I think about Alex Hormozi. Do you ever listen to any?
Yes.
Have you been on any of his webinars?
No.
So on his webinar, he uses a very standard webinar sales approach in the sense of he demonstrates his value and he gets you to want what he's got, and then he stacks.
I bought the whole thing.
He stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks. But at the end, he says, I'm going to give it to you for free. He gives it to you for free. Everybody, you're just waiting. I remember the first time I was just like, I don't know. 10,000, he gives it because he's like, I want you to have it. I want you to succeed. I deal with you when you're at million gross revenue. I can give you the stuff to get you to million gross revenue. I already built it. Here, it's yours. We're building something where basically we want to take the chocolate, which is Janine's experience and Janine's enthusiasm, and connect it with
my failures
and all your experience, but your confidence and your perspective and all that stuff, and then connect it with the peanut butter, right, of implementers.
Yeah.
If Janine can help you connect with a vision, and then the implementers can help you implement that vision, there's no reason that you can't have what you deserve to have. And so here's what I want to leave you with. We'll do the origin story another day. Or what I want to leave the questions. What changes? Think of the archetype. Think of the avatar of the type of person we're talking about, right? Whether they're a content producer, whether they're a coach, a consultant, they're in business, they're a CEO, they're a mom, they're a teacher, but they believe that either they have something to share, even if that's a limiting belief if they don't believe that.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody believes that they have something to share, whether it's them or somebody else. And they believe, or you believe, or somebody believes that if more people were exposed to their fill in the blank, message, methodology, story, whatever, then things are better. And again, there's nothing wrong with money. It could be a situation where you're like, it would be really nice to have $35,000 keynote checks and be able to travel around the country.
I see a lot of Christians will say, oh, money's not important to me. I don't worship money. I go, I don't worship money either, but money's important to me.
Yeah.
I don't worship it. I love money. Money fills my pockets every single day.
Yeah.
Money gives me the kind of life that I can help other people, that I can do great things. So I think sometimes people having limited beliefs about money.
I know 100%.
I know you're wrapping up, but I want to say this one thing. I think sometimes people don't really understand what a limited belief is, and we've talked about it a lot. And I'm very kinesthetic and visual, so I want to just briefly say how I envision a limited belief. And I used to talk about this in my keynotes 20 years ago. Is baby elephants. When they train baby elephants, they put a chain around or a rope around the baby elephant's ankle, and they attach it to a little stick in the ground. That's like a 3-foot stick, little stick. And every day the baby elephant tries to break free. It runs in the right, to the left, to the right, tries to break free, and it can't. Tries it the next day, the next day, the next day. But guess what? After a while, after fail, after fail, after fail, after fail, it becomes a belief that it can't escape. But now, 4 years later, this elephant could tear down our house, could tear down Washington, D.C., this huge giant elephant, and that same tiny rope or tiny chain attached to that 3-foot stick will hold a giant elephant in place. So just because we failed at something before, again and again and again and again, I get it. A belief is something that is a repetitive result. So that's a limited belief, because just because we failed last year, I mean, you think about, Dr. Seuss, or you think about Michael Jordan getting cut from the basketball team in high school. Like, you think about all these failures where people go, 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 go. Do you know why there's the, Formula 409? It's a cleaning fluid. Mm-hmm. Formula 409, you spray it on the countertops.
I love 409.
Do you know why it's called Formula 409?
No idea.
Because the first 408 formulas failed. And when they wrote it in the book, and they wrote Formula 409, and it did everything, cleaned up the grease, they liked the smell, and everyone goes, this is it tested well. They're like, what do we call it, what do we call it, what do we call it? And in the book, it was called Formula 409, and that's what it's called. So unless you failed 408 times at something, then it's a limited belief. So for me, that's how I visualize what is a limited belief. It's something based on past experience. It's not an irrational belief. Right. You can prove it's a belief because here's my evidence, 408 times of failure, Janine. That's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for me. You have 408 ideas a day, Fraser. It's not going to work for Fraser. It's not going to work for Fraser. Yeah, it is. Because Fraser is one day, one moment, 1 second away from Formula 409. Like, I love people who are fearless and fail and say, it's okay, pivot. Like, I always say I'm a weeble wobble from the 80s, right? Those weeble wobbles, if you're young, you don't know what these are, but these little circle feet creatures that are 1 inch tall, and you would hold them down, and as soon as you let go, they pop right back up. And I say I'm a weeble wobble, that I don't care how many times I've failed before. I just lost 75 pounds, but I've lost weight before and gained weight and lost weight. But this time it's for good. And I believe that because I believe everyone's entitled to a comeback. And I believe that all those failures and wins and failures for my weight had to happen to get me to where I am today and where I'm going to continue to be, which is fit and healthy, so I can help people who also went up and down. So I think that's a limited belief. So if people are listening and aren't sure, yes, I get it. I get where your limited belief came from, right? I get it because you failed at it, you've tried it before. Just keep going. You're a day away from the win.
And this is where, before we shift into asking you this question as to what's possible, I want to just call out something. What we're saying, everything we're saying could be very strategic. Listen, we want to inspire you. We want to get you to attach yourself to an outcome. We want to see you to see that it's possible and convince you that you can do it this time, right? Like, those are sales techniques in ways. The difference that I'm going to say here is that you got it. We're giving it to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to convince yourself that this time it's going to be different and you have to go get your credit card. You don't have to convince yourself. It's a gift. And it's hard to give away gifts. Go ask Jesus. But this is something where it's okay for you to be listening to this and saying, I don't know if this is true. And I don't know if this is right for me or whatever. It's fine. You're not going to be able to hold on to those things and be successful, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to let go of that stuff in order to have success doing this. But one of the best things that you can do, and this is where we go back to the Idamsu principle, one of the best things you can do is say, you don't owe me shit until. We're gonna challenge you. Now, here's the deal. We're not going to enable you. We're not going to enable you to be negative.
Yes.
We're not going to enable you to do things that are going to hold you back. So if you're coming in there, don't get me wrong, it ain't free. There's a price.
You got to invest in you.
You have to shut the hell up with your negative beliefs.
I call it stinking thinking.
You got to turn off your stinking thinking. You have to you're going to have, and it's not that you're bad. You might just fail out. You might fail out because you're not able to make the change. But guess what's going to happen a year from now? You're welcome back.
Yes.
You're just not ready now. Or maybe you're 100% ready now. But this program is built to take the fire that's inside of you and get it bigger with our billows, and then to make sure that once you get on a flame, that there's a path for it to work, because you can be as motivated, as excited, as inspired, and as fired up as possible, but if life gets in the way on Wednesday, then you might lose that. But there's no reason for life to get in the way, because we've got a group of young people who are excited. Yeah. They don't know enough not to be excited about helping you implement the vision that has been blessed by Janine through her experience. So all of that is to say, I just wanted to talk about turning off the voice that says, this is going to cost me something, or I don't have the money for it, or blah, blah, blah. It is going to cost you something. But it ain't what you think.
It's not financial.
And it isn't what is in the past you feared investing in yourself. You do have to invest in yourself, but it's not what you think. Okay.
And wait. I talked about God here today. You don't have to be a Christian to be a part of this. You could just think the Bible is just a story of metaphors and good life lessons. And it's just, okay, that's just a story. That's just a parable, right? You could think the whole thing is fake. I believe that it's real. You don't have to believe what I believe. That's one of the things about me. I used to say I'm a swearing Christian, but I quit swearing a year and a half ago. But I believe, I'm fascinated by whatever it is you believe. You believe in the universe? Great, bring the universe to town, right? I believe in manifesting, and I manifest through Scripture in the Bible. Matthew 7:7, right? So a whole bunch of different belief systems. One of my brother-in-laws is atheist. I've had au pairs that are atheists. Now, I will say, I play Christian music. We had an atheist au pair one time, and my son said, "You don't believe in God?" And she said, "No." And my son, Jack, he was like 7. He goes, "Good luck living in our house. My mother listens to Jesus music all day long." So I do have some Christian music in the background playing. And it doesn't matter what your belief system is.
Well, I'll say this. It does matter what your belief system is, but it doesn't have to be religious. We're going to work on your belief system.
Nice. That's good. Nice callback. Ba-bum.
Ba-bum. All right. Here's the deal. Finishing this up. Landing the plane, as we say.
As we say here.
As Janine and I.
The Awesome Academy.
As Janine and I, when we're both talking, somebody's got to land the plane. All right, so landing the plane is think about the archetype. Think about the person who is, going to be in our cohort, our first or next cohort of Awesome Academy, the Awesome Speaker Academy, Janine Driver Awesome Speaker Academy training program, whatever. What opens up for them? How does their life, business, impact, experience change when they start doing the stuff that we're talking about? What happens? Like, they know they want it. They want it because it seems like they should want it. I mean, a TED Talk would be good. A book would be good. Being on TV would be good. But what really changes in their lives when they are on TV or when they can command $10,000 speaking fees or when they have a book? What changes? What you don't have to, this isn't about like nothing changes. You're the same unhappy, miserable person. Let's get fake. Let's think about what does change in your experience when you have these milestones that they think they want.
I like that.
No, I'm asking.
Oh, you're asking me what's going to change?
Yeah, what has changed in your experience because of you breaking through these barriers of book, no book, guest, no guest, keynote speaker, no keynote speaker, podcast guest, no podcast guest?
Okay, the reason I didn't know that you were asking me the question, I had an ADD moment, and I looked down at my fingernails, and they're painted red. But the wedding ring finger, whatever that one's called, I have it painted like Spider-Man because I was going to go on a date with a guy, his favorite superhero, Spider-Man. And I looked down, and while you were talking, I thought, I need to paint my fingernails blue and have Zico water before tomorrow morning when I go to New York City. And then when I see Jesse Itzler, I'm going to be like, look, I painted my fingernails Zico water. Does that count?
I have not. I have not mastered. I have some people that I can tell when they've tuned out. I have not completely mastered the Janine Driver tell
I
yet.
have this whole world planned in my head. I'm like, okay, my nails are going blue today. All right, to answer your question, thank you for repeating it. For me at least, it's life is so fun, and people try to put limited beliefs on you based on their beliefs. Like I'll tell you briefly. Like so, when I've done these TED Talks. And I go on keynotes, but I also teach a class how to have a date 6 nights a week if you want. Mm-hmm. I also teach a class on emotional intelligence and decision making. And like years ago, people would say, and still say, pick a lane. You have to be this version. Or I like to color my hair all the time. I was a redhead for a while. I'm a brunette. I'm a blonde now. I've gone up and down in weight. They're like, your logo, my image is constantly shifting. That's going to hurt my brand. Maybe it does hurt the brand, but that's a limited belief. So, because guess what? I was 286 pounds on the Dr. Oz show 6 times in 1 year. 286 pounds. So if I believe the Dr. Oz show is about health and wellness, that because I was, size 26 in woman's size, 286 pounds, I can't be on his show. I would have never did the first one. Right. But I came in and, again, treated Dr. Oz like Mr. Carr, saying, you must be so proud of yourself. When my mother was dying of breast cancer, Dr. Oz had met my mother when she had her head shaved bald. He kissed her head. He goes, how's your mother doing, Janine? I got not good. They gave her 3 months to live. It metastasized to her liver. Mm. And he said, I hate when doctors do that. They don't have a crystal ball. I hate that. I go, Dr. Oz, if this was your, God forbid, your wife or your 3 daughters, is there a doctor you would take? And he goes, yeah, one doctor, Dr. Mitch Gaynor in New York, but he only takes cash. I tell you this because the everyday guest is never going to say to Dr. Oz, God forbid if this was someone in your family, who would you go to? They'd be afraid to ask. I don't want the producer to not invite me back. We write this story in our head, this stinking thinking story, and I'm fearless because my mother always said no is the beginning of negotiation. So she was a bad speller, so we could start with that. Horrible speller. No is the beginning of negotiation. And my mother would say, Janine Driver, I could drop you in a room with 100 strangers and you would leave with 100 friends. Right. Now, that's not true. I'll leave with 50 friends and 50 that are like, wow, she's a lot. Yeah. That neurospicy girl, Janine Driver's a lot. And my mother would say, anything you put your mind to, I know you're going to achieve. My whole life. When I quit the federal government, I made $115,000 there, level 14. It goes to a 15 in the federal government. And my father, who's a town worker out of Brookline, Massachusetts, he fixed fire trucks for his living. You don't quit a federal government job. You have more holidays and days off. And I had 4 weeks vacation by the time I left. And my father was devastated. He would call me all the time after I left. Can they take you back? Do you still have your top secret clearance? Yeah. How long until your top secret clearance? And I had to call my mother and I go, Mom, if Dad keeps talking about ATF, I'm not gonna talk to him anymore. I need to take a pause. I know that I'm gonna land on my feet. I know. My mother goes, Janine, I have no doubt. I have no doubt. And from that day forward, I get emotional. I never made less than $115,000. I never made less than that ever since leaving ATF, not 1 year. And
I think for me, to answer your question, all of these things that I've had achievements on and successes, to me, reminds me, and how it makes me feel is grateful that I had a support system like my mother who just poured this belief that I could do anything. And I was getting emotional when you were talking about doing this program. If I had 1,000 women out there doing this, and the reason I was getting emotional, I was thinking so many people don't have a Lorraine driver cheering them on for their whole entire life, right? And when my mother was diagnosed and she was dying, people would say, do you ever say, why me, Lorraine? And she said, why not me? Steve Jobs died at like 54 and he had all the money in the world. She goes, I got to raise 3 girls to young women. Yeah. And I get emotional because when you learn what I learn in the support that I'm going to give to whoever is part of this program, I will break those limited beliefs. You will have a champion on your side because I will constantly remind you how amazing you are, how anything is possible. Jesse Itzler and his team say, don't give your pain a voice. Mm-hmm. And I really love that. It resonates with me and my mom's advice, and don't give your pain a voice. And that's so true. So for me, and there's tons of psychology on this. We won't go into that now. We'll talk about it another time. But when we complain about something, it makes people not like us. There's something that activates in their brain that says it's called your amygdala. Your amygdala is scanning: is this person a threat, or is this person going to help me in some way? And so when we come in complaining, or we come in overly aggressive, or we come in hot, oh, my flight was turbulent, this, their amygdala goes off. This person is dangerous. This person's not helpful. And then they stop listening to you. So for me, I got emotional when you talked about helping the 1,000 women, and then those 1,000 women paying it forward like JJ Newberry did with me, is I know that I have the heart to break whatever limiting beliefs people have inside of them because I have seen it before. I've helped people do it. I mean, it's them doing the work, but being around someone that believes in you no matter what. Listen, I had an intern that quit on me. His name's Steve White, and he quit on me. And I called him, and he didn't answer my call. And I go, Steve White, it's not happening. You're not quitting on me. Yeah. He had a toxic childhood. He had some bad stuff happen. Sister committed suicide, some abuse as a kid. And I'm not talking out of turn, I don't think, because these are things he shared online.
That's okay. It's only that we're recording it.
Yeah. So, but Steve White, I called him and I go, if I have to hop in my car, go to your apartment, and bring you out, I'm not letting you quit on you. It's not happening. Mm-hmm. He then worked for me for another year. And then when he left and he moved to Florida, he's now married, has a kid. He has a huge sales job. And he'll be the first person to tell you, Janine didn't quit on me. I tried to quit on Janine, but Janine didn't quit on me. And so I have a mother that was like that constantly said, hey, your 409's around the corner. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. And I know I'm not alone. There's lots of people that you hear have had champions. Maybe it's your basketball coach, or maybe it was your first husband, or maybe, who knows, your grandmother. For me, it just happened to be my mother. But I would love to impact people's lives the way I hope that I'm impacting my children's lives, and the way that I know for sure my mother has impacted my life.
Well, I think there's so much there, and it's so powerful. And I want to just say, the idea that you can be that cheerleader is very powerful. And it's funny, the question I asked and the question you answered took me to a different question, or to a different answer, which is what's possible, right? Like, what's going to change? And it's funny, because on some level, you think, oh, okay, well, when I get my book, when I get my TED Talk, when I get booked, when I'm going to become this. But the truth of it is, right, you have to become it.
Yes.
And you said these words, and I think it's a reasonable starting point, is it's fearless. I think the notion that Janine Driver is going to say, when you come into my little
world,
coven, What is the thing of chicks? Like hen? Like a thing, like a barrel? Whatever. A barrel, a gaggle.
My chick shack.
Chick shack. When you come into my little circle, I'm going to simultaneously demand, challenge, inspire, and give you a permission structure to be fearless. I'm going to show you how my being fearless has helped me. I'm going to show you why the fears that you are allowing to control you don't need to be. You're going to, if your fear, which it probably is that you're going to look foolish, we're going to demand that you look foolish. I'm going to say it's okay to look foolish. If your fear is that you're reaching too high, you're making Wendy Williams feel bad about herself because you're funny, I'm going to tell you that do it anyway, right? I feel like there's some quote like that. It's like if what you do makes people unhappy, do it anyway. What is it? Is there a quote like that?
Well, I don't know, but you made me think. Yes, something like that.
Well, it's some version. It's like a relatively recent quote. Oh, I know what it is. If you love or something like that and you get your heart broken, love anyway. If you create a business and it's stolen from you and whatever, do it anyway. And I mean, again, everybody's story is not the same. It would be nice if it was, but that version of, if you're here, you have it downstairs in the Airbnb, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
If you're here, you got attracted to the notion that you want to be bigger. I'm going to give you the permission to be bigger. I'm going to show you how to be bigger. I'm going to connect you with a network of people that are going to help you implement being bigger. We're going to cheer you on as opposed to lobster claw you like some communities do. We're gonna try to outpace each other in terms of fearlessness as opposed to income or impact or likes or followers or whatever. We're gonna do that, and you're in the right place. You found your tribe, and I'm your Mrs. Garrett, right? And on some level,
excellent.
And I think that's just the through line. The through line is, you can do bigger than that. And I have written in a book I wrote, which was that every chalkboard, whiteboard, whatever, in every school around the country should have the words written on top on it, don't make a mistake. And the reason that it should be written on every board, even though that's the stupidest advice, is because that's exactly what they communicate. You might as well put it in writing if that's what you're telling everybody, because that's what every message is. Don't make a mistake. You've got to be perfect. Figure out the rules and then follow them. And it's all horseshit nonsense.
Sarah Blakely, I mentioned her earlier, who invented Spanx, and she's married to Jesse Itzler, is her father would be disappointed when they would come home from school, Sarah and her siblings, if they didn't have no's. He'd say, tell me where you got a no today. And if they're like, no, I got all yeses, he'd be like, do better. Yeah. And so Sarah, when she went out, she didn't know how to launch this, and she goes to Nordstrom's and launches this whole thing. And Sarah Blakely, you know what else? When it was in Nordstrom's, they buried Spanx way in the back of all the lingerie and underwear. You know what she did? She went to the Container Store, bought all these nice baskets, put all the Spanx from the back of the store in the basket, and put it at all the cash registers and all the Nordstroms that she could go to. Now, that would have to be approved by, like, supervisor. But everyone showed up to work, assuming someone approved it.
Sure.
They all just showed up there. Guess what? Spanx sold like hotcakes. They then got more. So imagine someone else. I'm sure she would have a friend that said, don't do that. You could get in trouble. Right. Then they'll put your product. Yeah. Someone else is going to say, yeah, let's go for it. So tomorrow I'm going to Jesse Itzler's one-man show in New York City. I'm going with 3 friends. And when I found out this morning, I have an adorable outfit. And I'm like, damn it, now I have to go dressed as Zico Water. So as soon as we're done talking, I'm going to get dressed, go for a little walk, and then I'm going to go to the party. I'm going to make myself into a Zico Water, right? I could have told you with $1 million which one of my 3 friends were going to call me and say, are you sure that's a good idea?
Sure.
I could have bet $1 million on it. And the one that I would have guessed is exactly, my phone lit up immediately. First, I got a text from one of the friends that said, how you doing it? I might be in with you. I might count me in.
Are you just going to do a T-shirt? Are you making the whole costume? I go, it's going to be about $60. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it over a Cheetos costume that I already have. It has the structure, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to make a big straw out of pool noodle. And I'm going to anyway, that one friend's like, all right, let me think about it. The other friend calls 5 minutes later and she says, do you think it's a good idea? You're going to be in a big theater. You think it's going to be comfortable to sit in that? Do you think I don't know. Do you really think that that's your best? And I could have told, and I go, I'm doing it. And it is a great idea because guess what? Jesse Itzler's going to be like, Janine, of course you're the nutball that showed up as Eco Water.
But here's the thing about that. There's nothing wrong
and it's
with
fun for me. Why are you going to put out my fun?
No, they can't.
They can't. That's right.
The thing is that you don't need to eliminate voices. You need to increase your ability to regulate those voices, right? Because just like listen, those are voices in your head, dude.
Yeah.
You think they're out. You think they're your friends. You're like, oh, I can tell you which one. That voice is in your head. You have to be able to regulate the voice in your head before you worry about the voice outside, right? You have a voice that says, do I want to do that?
Oh, no, I don't.
You have a voice in your head. It's been turned down.
No.
You don't have any
I
voice.
love costumes. Yes, I have a voice on things like going skydiving or bungee jumping. Is that a good idea? Like I said to Jesse, I want to next year go on with his team to hike the Grand Canyon. Then I'm like, is that really a good idea? I have left knee problems. I broke my collarbone years ago. Do I really want to walk the Grand Canyon? No. I want to say that I walked the Grand Canyon. Sure. I want to have it completed. But no, I love dressing up in costumes. I'm fearless. I've always been the person that's super fun. I wore cowboy hats when they weren't even cool. Like I was like 19. I went to a wedding when I was, I think, 25, and I wore a cowboy hat at the wedding.
Yeah.
And so I'm fearless on that. So that's not my stinking voice.
But it's not even.
But this is the person that thinks, Janine, you need to wear a bigger support bra. You need it. And so I just bring it up because and I love her for other things.
That's all I'm saying is that we don't have to hate the voices from our friends. We don't have to hate the voices inside of us. We have voices that say, there are going to be voices, unless you've killed them apparently, there are going to be voices that say things like, is this just you doing the same thing you always do, Janine? Mm. Now, when somebody that you don't love says that to you, you tell them to go fuck themselves. Yeah. When your parents or somebody you love say it, you worry about it, but you've inured yourself. But when it's coming from inside the house, you got issues. Here's the only thing I'll say.
Wait, one last thing there.
We're never going to get to the end.
I want to say this last thing.
Ever.
Yes. So Jesse has this big show. If I came up with the idea, I'm going to dress up as Zico Water because Jesse Itzler did it when he was 22, and I was just going in cold turkey, then that voice of reason saying, is that a good idea? We're in Broadway.
Well, you're the one. You're at that point. You're carrying the crippled guy to Jesus' house, right? You're the one who's like, I'm game, let's do it.
But he gave a challenge. He goes, whoever comes dressed like this, I'll give you $100. Which
really, frankly, is a permit. He's created a permission structure.
Yes,
so you're not even all that fearless.
No,
you're basically compliant. But listen, here's that. We're going to finish with this.
Go.
You're from Boston.
Yes, correct.
So you'll know this quote.
Okay.
So
Larry Bird?
The movie The Town.
Okay, yes.
Ben Affleck.
Yes.
Comes into his apartment. Yeah. Jeremy Renner, his favorite partner, is
They put this on TikTok all the time.
Yeah. And he says, listen, I need your help.
I can't tell you.
I can't tell you what it is. We can't ever talk about it again. I don't want you to ask me about it. And we're going to hurt some people. And Jeremy Renner says, whose car are we taking?
Yeah.
Right? So on some level, what you do, you need those people who are like, whose car are we taking? Yeah. Right? Or I'll get the nunchucks, right? And in this situation, what I love is that I love the possibility. And here's what I also love about the possibility is, so I'm in the middle of this. This is literally, I'm landing the plane. I'm in the middle of this big. we
have to do a little bad weather before we land.
We're out of fuel. I'm in this thing for nonprofits or for causes called Connect for a Cause. Now here's the deal. A lot of people. I'm an entrepreneurial thinker, and I don't like things that are limited. I don't like things that are scarce. I mean, I believe in scarcity, but in terms of, I like to think in terms of abundance. And nonprofits think in terms of I want to raise money. That's how they function. Now, money is scarce to some extent. I mean, at any one time, there's a limited amount of money. And if you look at your pocket right now, there's a limited amount of money. That doesn't mean that you can't manifest millions more. But you have to choose what you're spending it on. And if this nonprofit asks for $50 and this nonprofit asks for $50 and blah, 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 eventually you're going to run out of $50, at least in those moments, unless you think differently. And I like to think in terms of possibilities and abundance. There is no scarcity with regards to people that want to have bigger lives. If everybody on the planet, if everybody that is listening to decides to live bigger, decides to challenge their fearlessness, decides to have more of an impact, that's not a bad thing. No. We're not running into natural resource limitations. All that happens is more people are happier and more people are inspired. And I like to construct things that are built on that.
Listen, you made me think of something. Years ago, my college came to town. I went to college in the Berkshires in Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts. It used to be called North Adams State College. Anyway, they came to town, and I never went to one of these alumni dinner things. And I sat down, and I go, now, how does this work? It's like me and a bunch of elderly people. I go, how does this work? Do you ask for the money up front, or do you ask it at the end of the dinner? And this woman who was like 78 was horrified that I just put it. I go, I just want to know so I can be authentically me during dinner, because otherwise it's looming inside of me. I think at some point they're going to ask me for money. I've never done one of these. And the elderly woman goes, that's not how this works. And I go, okay, well, how does it work? Well, they're going to ask us at the end. I go, okay, well, if we ask me at the beginning, I'd rather give you the money, and then we could just have where I don't feel like you're trying to manipulate me, that we could just all be real at dinner, because otherwise I feel like you're trying to sell me. And that's not how it works. And, we would like a $5,000 gift. I go, okay, do you have a credit card machine? Like, do you have, like, Apple Pay? Like, what do you have? Well, no, that's not how it works. You say, yes, I'm going to commit to $5,000. We send you a note in the mail within the next week. You then send us the money a week later. I go, a week later, I'm going to have a front porch in my house.
Yeah.
I'm an impulsive person. I have $5,000 I can give you right now. But if you can't take my money right now, I'm telling you right now, if I get something in the mail 10 days from now, that money's long gone, bro. Yeah. Like, I'm going to have a new truck or something. Yeah. So, or take my kids to Universal or pay my bills. So anyway, they were unable to take it. They sent me the letter. They never got the money. Yeah. And this is what I said. I talked to them. I said, listen, to go to your point, I go, okay, if I donate $5,000, the colleges and universities put that in an account, and they only give scholarships based on the interest that $5,000 makes. That $5,000 doesn't go to Fraser O'Leary. I want a connection to human beings. I go, that is not a connection to human beings. I get it that it helps the school. I love my school. It was awesome. I'm successful because of my teachers at my school, hands down, which we'll talk about during the training. But this is what I suggested, and they didn't do it. I go, know what I would love? Why don't you take some of your money that you have, or when I get more money in, I'll be more than happy to fund this. Create a website for Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts, Adopt a Student. Mm-hmm. And every student that comes in as a freshman gets someone that can adopt them. Mm-hmm. And so you have an inner city kid from Boston that wants to, it's a 2.5, 3 hour drive out of the mountains back to Boston. They have a family emergency. And bam, I'm their like big sister. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, they need a new laptop. Bam. I want the connection, not just then, but beyond on how can I help. For me to just give you some money and then you take the interest and give it to people I'll never meet is not, it doesn't make sense for my brain. I want the connection with the money and the investment. They never invented it. I don't understand it. Adopt a student. And every single freshman gets an alumni that adopts them.
Well, and
I would adopt like 10 kids.
Well, and this is the theory too, is that you gotta. So in education we talk about like, people, they only teach what they can measure. Or that's how it functions, right? They're only gonna, if they can't test it, they don't want to teach it, right? Like, or because then they're like, well, I got to be able to show on the test or whatever, which is fine. But similarly, it's kind of if you're good with a hammer, the whole world grows as a nail.
Yeah.
For charities, and I deal with this with schools all the time. I'm like, I come and I say, we'll do this program for you, and they say, we're not ready for that. It's just like we were the credit card machine in your college. You're like, just give us money. And I'm like, what are you going to use the money for? Well, to get a program like that. And I'm like, do you understand how stupid that is?
Yes.
Because here's the deal. I will create that program for free. and make it available to 10,000, 100,000 students. I'll give it to you for free. But if I have to create a bullshit price in order for you to even
think it's valuable.
Well, and because then you can't, I can't order it unless it's money and this, and we can't work with. So the thing about this is there's a big old deficit in terms of people's thinking.
Yes.
And figuring out models. People call them flywheels. I like to think of them as Rube Goldberg machines, like where it's like this leads to this, leads to this, and it's a perpetual motion machine. Your notion of sponsoring a student, they don't need money all the time. Right. What they might need is an introduction.
Right, that's what I wanted to do.
Well, and that's the thing.
Maybe they needed a pep talk. Maybe they needed I do mind maps. I'm going to teach you a better way how to study.
And this is where people who preach or worry about scarcity or divvying up the pie or even like envy. Like, oh, well, this person has this and this person doesn't have that. It's all nonsense. Mm. It's a failure of imagination, and it's a bureaucratic system, and it's inertia. And here's the deal. That is an audacious statement for a guy who has $350 in his bank account to make. I'm basically saying, y'all are doing it wrong, and I'm doing it right. And I'll leave you with this quote. By the way, if anybody's single in the audience, ignore that $350. That's like an old... That's
a joke.
That's a joke. Throw some zeros
You're so humble.
Throw 3 zeros on the front of it, and it's more accurate.
That humility of yours.
But here's a great quote, and y'all can steal this for the ladies. It's a George Bernard Shaw quote, and it's gendered. A reasonable man conforms himself to the world. An unreasonable man insists that the world conform to him. Thus, all progress depends on unreasonable men. Mm. And all I would say for my fearless women in the awesome Janine Driver Speaker Academy of Janine Driverness is you're the one holding yourself back. You are holding the rope, elephants, right? Mm. So the first step to figure out whether you want to do this or what's possible is to say, I'm going to break free from the rope and try it and see what happens, right? And so that's sort of what Janine is doing. She's creating a community of badassness and a permission structure to unleash your inner genius or inner brilliance. And then we'll try it and see what happens. And we don't know what it's going to look like. Maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe those are just tools to help you challenge your limiting beliefs.
Maybe they come on board for 409 days. Ooh. And I tie in the program is a 409-day program because it connects with...
How about you can't quit until you made 408 mistakes? All right.
I like it.
All right.
Love you. All right.
See?
Did it record? Is the question?